Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean High Readings. I'm going to go ahead and get into another one. Let's see, what is the root of your phobia or fear that you have? Now, of course, seek out any other supportive mental health, emotional, physical health services that you might need. But we want to, use the ability of tarot here and oracle and spiritual insight to just help us recognize some more nuances, some more insights that can assist us along that journey, okay? It can be really good that we might forget, oh, wow, I didn't think about the reason that I do this at work is because of that, treehouse that I had a hard time building in childhood or whatever it is, right? So we're going to go ahead and find all the tree houses here that we need to look into and see where does this fear or phobia come from. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's pick a heart. We have the light pink Be Mine. We have the hot pink Forever. And we have the blue XOXO. Go ahead and pick one of those. And I will see you on your timestamp. All right, if you picked the pink, light pink Be Mine light, let's go ahead and do your health reading. Let's see what's going on. Where does this fear or phobia come from? Okay, where does this fear or phobia come from? Connecting with the light pink Be Mine group. Oh, we have one coming out. Community. Confession, reverse. Proud of you, reverse. Wow, so this something in this situation could stem from having negative talk or neglect when it came from community. So maybe instead of having positive reinforcement, validation, congratulations, things like that from people who are meant to be community towards you, you have people either just keep their mouth closed and not give any kind of encouragement, or you had people speak the opposite, speak negativity upon you. And this is like, I don't know, I feel like people forget the importance of community blessings, of elder blessings, parental blessings. And, when people experience the poison of, society themselves, they tend to turn around and spit it at those that they're supposed to nurture instead. So, if you have parents, instead of blessing their kids, saying, oh, I can't wait till this happens to you when you're older or whatever, those are things that are like curses. Those are things that are injuries that can be ingested in the spirit, right? And they can create things like, just gnawing away at you, like fears and phobias and energy, filled within yourself, within your aura, that are like these little black holes, little raw spots. So this looks like something here that has happened. This could also be that at the time that you try to confess, well, one, you could have been forced to go to confession. You could have been raised in like religions or in a household where you were made to like not have privacy, or you were made to overly share things, but maybe it was contorted in some way, so you had to confess what others wanted you to confess, or things like that. It's kind of like a negative hierophant energy there. This could have been like teachers, when teachers put you on the spot and it's not about learning, it's about power plays and embarrassment and things of that nature, with the intention to not co-sign and validate, okay? Yeah. Let's see, and for some of you, it could have just been, there could be Chiron, Gemini Chirons in this group, Chiron and Gemini, Chiron and Aquarius in this group, Chiron and Libra, like Chiron and air signs. It could also be sometimes that you might have just felt overlooked, right? Middle child syndrome or whatever it is, where you felt like, I wish that my teacher would have noticed me. I wish there could have been some kind of reaction that people would have had, that they would have heard me or noticed me. Okay, so let's get some more insight to your performance reversed. Yeah, so some of you could have fear of public speaking, which I heard people have a greater fear of that than of death. Statistically, it could be that, and it's because of that fear of getting embarrassed or messing something up in society, right? That fear of community dynamics, exile, things of that nature. Not being able to continue. So you guys might have a fear that either conversation will never start, communication won't last, communication is going to drop off, you'll never hear from someone again, or you won't get a word in edgewise, you won't be understood. And there's some fear here of performance, of how others view you, of, again, you could be presenting things as well, and just being exposed, okay? I do love that we have this portal here, but there's a fear of the unknown here that's coming up as well. Let's get some more information to see how we can help transmute this and hypnotize. Wow, so literally, some of you might go and seek someone who's qualified that can give hypnosis, that can help you go back to that moment, journeying back to that moment and getting your power back, the moments that triggered these things. For instance, if you go back to those moments where you were made to accept beliefs that weren't your own, or where you were embarrassed in class, and you support yourself, your past self, and you encourage yourself and you stand up for yourself in those moments and in those memories, you get to rewrite and have the final say of those memories and not hold that version of events in an energetic way that is harmful to yourself. So that could be something that's very powerful. Yeah, it's like dream work, hypnosis work could be really, really, really powerful and very profoundly successful for this group, okay? Let's see. They're a foe for real. Yeah, and so this says sometimes the biggest way to get rid of foes is to not let them be a foe anymore. The quickest way sometimes to get rid of an enemy is to take away their power to even be an enemy, or a competitor, or a villain, or a bully. This is not to excuse them of what they've done, but is to remove them from your story, to demote them from importance as antagonists, to not even a subtitle or subnote, okay? So these are things that we learn to do more and more. Sometimes it's bit by bit. It can take years. Sometimes it can happen in one session. It can click right now as you hear it, like, whoa, I can do that. Done, right? Do it at your own pace so that you can do it as thoroughly and deeply as you need to. But here, clearly, it says you are open to this. That's why you came to this message. You were like, yeah, what's the root of this? Where do I need to go and check within my timeline? How do I access it? What's the best method for me? Good, done, okay? I love that we have a portal. Like, even while we were still trying to look at the problem, it already was like, okay, you have a portal to healing and we can stop this from continuing. It doesn't need to trickle into your past lives or anything. We have this lotus of enlightenment. Let's go. Your energy was already ready, to transmute it, get it out of here. Doesn't need to be here anymore. Free you from this, okay? So if this feels like something that you have maybe at times identified with as this is part of my personality, this is part of my inheritance, socially or physically or whatever from my parents, this is something that will never go away, or it's too much of a mistake, or it's ruined my life so much, at any moment, right? What do I say? At any moment, in any direction, time, or space, we can find a new level of ourselves, a new bit of healing and empowerment that can change our self from the inside out and reclaim us to our truer self, right? More whole. So that means all of a sudden you might become phenomenal at public speaking. All right, you might love to express yourself in different ways or conquer whatever this phobia has been. Maybe you love to travel and drive now, etc. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. I feel like this was just a quick message. They were like, let's go, we're ready for it. That's what we want to say. So thank you to your spirit crew, and I'll talk to you again on another one. Bye. So that is keeping you from being able to truly move forward in a way that's highly successful for yourself in this area. So for some of you, it could be a particular moment. It could literally be one romantic rejection shut you down and did that. And so now it's hard for you to believe in the future. You don't want to move on. You don't know how to reconvene and get your confidence in yourself and get your wants and desires back. And it could be that one relationship that has become this kind of vortex of I'm too embarrassed to even let myself be seen to go take out the trash. I don't even want to run into my neighbors because I feel so wounded from this rejection that happened, okay? Being the core of it. Yeah, for some of you, it could be a pretty old wound. For some of you, it could be rather new, where maybe it suddenly has popped up, okay? So, what we start to see here is they're saying go into something new. Find new ways to play. Encourage yourself to make mistakes and get messy. Encourage yourself not to be too cold. It says, I don't like how you try to mold me, okay? And literally it's saying give yourself fake fears. Whoa, we're doing literally a fears and phobias reading, and they're saying this is not legit. This is not something that you need to even credit as being like legit a big bad wolf fear, okay? It's like you pulled the mask off the big bad wolf and it was a little sheep trying to act like a big bad wolf. Like, we're not scared. We know this fairy tale. Okay, get out. Go on. Go find some grass to munch on and get out my story, right? That's the vibe here. Your magical child energy is what you connect to for empowerment. This is saying you can turn back the clock on years, time wasted. Some of you might feel like, well, I've had this fear and phobia for so long. Maybe my health is bad now. I missed opportunities. I missed relationships, whatever it is. So now I can't change it. They're saying, that's fake. That's not real. Don't ice yourself out. Okay? What you do right now, Ocean Views, get a new in-game Ten of Cups viewpoint. You need to see it for yourself. Sometimes the biggest way to let a fear go is to see what you can do. See the hands grabbing each other? If someone's hanging off a cliff, right, and they're falling, one of the best ways to finally get them to let go so they can move forward and get rescued is for them to see a hand reaching out. So this is like your spirit crew reaching out to you now and saying, it's going to be okay. You're going to be happy, okay? You're going to be successful. You're going to have a good ending. But you can't keep punishing yourself for whatever didn't work out or whatever rejections happened in the past and keep yourself held down because you're afraid of that pain again, that feeling again. One, you've gotten immunity, some immunity to yourself now. All right, your immune system's going to be a little bit tougher. Your skin's going to be a little bit thicker because you've had some bumps and bruises and some rejections. And that doesn't mean that all the roads to your goal are closed. It's saying don't let others mold you like that. You're raw clay. Look at this mud. The kids playing in the mud here. You are raw clay. You're unformed in so many ways, and that's a good thing. Okay? You can pick your path. You can pick the way that you want to remold yourself. You can choose to realign, and this thing, looking at inner child energy, even look with children, when they're upset about something, when they don't understand something that's going on and it's scary and it's terrifying for them. We always require so much more of children than we do of adults, right? And we teach them how to train their mind, how to focus on their breathing, how to understand and tell their mind and their fears that what they're afraid of might not be real, or to give them empowerment so they know how to work around or through or over their fears or circumvent it completely. So this is saying by nurturing yourself in those ways, in proactive ways, where you disempower your fear, that's your takeaway. Disempower your fear, not yourself. Empower yourself, disempower your fear. Disempower rejection from being able to have an influence on you. It might take time. You might have to remind yourself every moment, right? Okay, everything's not a rejection, and the things that aren't negative for me, okay? I don't interpret them that way. I'm moving towards my ocean views, towards my Ten of Cups, towards who I am, and I'm not going to let every rejection or negative vibe or whatever mold who I am. They don't have the right to take, a carving knife to my sculpture. That's just not how it is. I want my future. All right, so instead of icing myself out, I'm going to ice out rejection itself. All right, I'm going to grow in beautiful cycles. I am going to see myself doing well in old age. I'm going to see myself loved and accepted and thriving for who I am. All right, not who I should go back and be like this because I was rejected by that ex because I wasn't like this. I was rejected for my collegiate studies. I was rejected for, those can be big things, abandonment, rejection. All right, so it can take a while. Work through it at your own pace. It could be instantaneous. If you quickly get over something, let yourself get over it. You might have something where it's a rejection from a parent, and you might be like, you know what, I'm really okay. Don't feel like you owe what is trying to harm you or what left you a certain reaction. If you're okay, good. Allow yourself to heal as soon as that clicks for you and go towards your happy ending and be okay. And allow yourself to thrive and allow yourself to not have to go back to that rejection, receive it, take it in, okay? Another thing I would say for this group is you could have a fear of being successful because you know that what rejected you or who rejected you is going to come back. And you're afraid of what they're going to be asking for with their hand out. Okay, there's a lot of people in this group, I think you have things with parents or, something like that, like a senior or an elder teacher or something like that. So you might be afraid, one, it's hard for me to move on and allow myself to be independently successful. And if I do, then I'm going to have to deal with all the fake love, or then they're going to come and try to put their hands in my pockets, get all my money, or then they're going to come and try to control my life or say that they did this for me or whatever. So this is saying, let all that go. You will be strong enough when you get there. You're not at the end of the race yet. You're not at the end of your career, right? You're not at the end of your legacy. You have so much more wisdom that you're going to gain in time, okay? So when you get there, you'll know how to handle it. You got to trust yourself. You're growing on a spiral. So that means you're going to run into similar rejections, similar people, maybe even the same people or situations over and over. However, you're going to be on a different level each time, a different point of the escalator, okay? And when you're looking from the 10th floor, it's not the same as when you're on the front floor, on the ground level, outside at the curb with the rain splashing on you, from the taxi driving by. It's not the same feel. It's not the same look, right? So that's how we start saying, fear, you're not real, right? I know I've been doing 9 of Wands, and you were so real to me, fear. You're more real than, my nose on the end of my face. But guess what? I'm on the 10th floor right now. I'm ascending. I'm on this escalator. I'm sky high right now. So even though I remember that rejection, and maybe I've transmuted that to some encouragement, some drive for myself, I don't have to be in terror of this taxi coming by, almost hitting me, splashing me, feeling embarrassed, because that's not where I'm at right now, right? And if that you're like, no, that's literally where I'm at, Himi. That's why I found this reading. Literally just got splashed by the taxi. I'm having this stress right now. Well, that says, guess what? You can step back this way. You can step over this way. You can go inside, okay? You can go through new doors. You don't have to stay in this moment. You don't have to let anyone define who you are, including yourself. That's right. Even our own embarrassment and our own fears, first of all, they don't have to be our own. We can take away that language where we don't even call it our own. So just fear doesn't have to be ours, and we don't have to identify with it. We don't have to listen to it. We don't have to keep that, right? So once you start realizing that, whoa, I can just take it off, like, okay, let's take off the muddy raincoat then. Let's take it off right now, right? Take it off right now. I just got splashed by the muddy taxi. Let me take this off. Let me go inside. And then start visualizing for yourself. Wow, I walk in and everyone treats me so well when I walk into this new place, right? There's someone coming with hot tea. They say, oh, here, let me take your umbrella. Do you need a new coat? Yes. You got to visualize different things, and that's Ocean Views right there, right? Write it down, and then I follow through. If you want to listen to Ocean Views by Nipsey, he had the same mindset, Ocean Views, as what's been one of my meditations for the longest time. So see yourself in that different space, all right? Another thing I always quote from Nipsey, he says, but it's all in my mind, so I never feel pressure. All right, so remind yourself of that as well. People will try to put pressure in your mind, including ourselves, but if we realize that in the moment, we can start giving ourselves some other options. Even if it's very valid that we could accept pressure or feel pressure, then we can start transmuting it, and we can start bringing in, here they said, bring in some play for yourself. Don't ice yourself out. Bring in some play and joy for yourself. And you realize the more we talk about all this, like, we haven't even said the word rejection in so long. We haven't even said abandonment in so long. You notice how we're not even talking about those same words. We're thinking about future. We're thinking about, what was on the 10th floor sky high? Where are those ocean views? We're like, our mind is going to a completely different place, right? So that's what your spirit crew wants you to focus on. So this can be just some help, some support for you along your journey, okay? So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again on another one. Bye. All right. For those who chose the blue XOXO heart, let's go ahead and see what is some of the cause at the root of the fears and phobias that you're going through right now. All right, for the blue heart XOXO. Oh my gosh, why so fearful? This is the second time. The spirit world's like, we know what y'all are talking about, because this is the second time we've literally got a card that had fear on it. Why so fearful? All right. Energy vampire. Fear is an energy suck. Family approval. So for some of you, it could be because of family approval. We have a lot of social relationships. I think each group has had some kind of dynamic about social situations being the trigger of where a fear or a phobia started. All right? But this is saying, why are we so fearful? Now here, for this group, you could have had, there's two sides. One, it could be in a way with society that you were raised to be in fear, just point blank. You could have, because of the constructs of society, your identifiers and your gender, your race, your nationality, your spiritual beliefs, whatever, you might have literally just been taught by the world very early, you better be afraid. You better be scared all the time. You better be worried. All right? So you might be like, well, why do I have a fear of flying? But they're talking about, right, think of it this way. Let's do it, easy example, okay? Easy example. Fear of swimming. Fear of swimming, right? Certain cultures have fear of swimming, right? Why? Because of cultural dynamics that have gone on that cause that fear of swimming, right? For an entire group of people. So things like that, right? Wow, so I have fear of flying because I just grew up not feeling safe even walking to school. Because the private school that I got a scholarship to, kids would bully me. And so that's where it came from, because I just didn't feel safe. I knew early on I wouldn't be looked out for, or that there was fear. So for some of you, it's more systemic. It was your environment where you were taught in society, I won't really have someone have my back if anything goes too wrong. Maybe you don't have trust in the legal system, or like the medical system, or again, some kind of societal constructs. Now, this could go on both sides for you, but some of you might lean to one side or understand this as a whole. It's family dynamics, okay? Your family dynamics, there could be a lot of water moons in this group, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer moons, or those of you who have your moon in water houses or to water planet aspects like Pluto, Neptune, connections to your moon, or in your fourth house, because there's this dynamic here where it looks like quite a few of you were taught that you exist just to be a battery, just to be, an accessory and a battery to somebody else in your family. Okay, let's say, for example, some kids who are born after, some of you could be rainbow kids, but instead of being embraced and there being joy, let's say that you were born after there was illness or a passing away of a sibling, for example, but then you felt the limitations and the expectations that you were there for other people's happiness. You needed to do something to make other people happy, and if not, there was a disapproval. There was a feeling of not being safe or accepted, right? But you're supposed to charge up the rainbows for other people. There could be the energy of maybe you had to take care of parents or whoever it was. So it's like all of your energy went into other people. Maybe you were children who had to take care of your siblings, right? Or somebody who had some kind of illness or disability in your family, something of that nature. So this taught you that your energy was not meant to be held by yourself. It was meant to go to somebody else. Others were deserving of it and not you. So what it did is it trained you to seek out relationships with energy vampires. But in doing that, you're always going to feel fearful, unsafe, and you're going to have phobias pop up in weird ways where either you're terrified to do certain things or you seek control about really weird things because you don't have that center of gravity and value in certain places that you should, okay? Yeah. Some of you, this all goes together, and the reason that you have these dynamics in your family was because of these external societal dynamics that the parent also felt but didn't know how to break the cycle with. And so you became like, the one who's supposed to be the happy kid, the cute kid, whatever, to help the family, but also feeling society's pressure yourself. So for example, if you are the child of an immigrant who's meant to be successful, or you're the first generation going to college, or things like that, you feel that energy of, well, I feel the same burden of society just like grandma, grandpa, and parents did, but I'm not supposed to feel that because I'm supposed to, be happy, and I'm supposed to go and get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that they couldn't, right? So you see that energy drainage. Why so fearful? So it's saying it's time to look some of these things in the face and tell them, how dare they be fierce, right? How dare society mess with you? How dare loved ones to drain you in ways that they shouldn't, and put burdens upon you that they really shouldn't. Okay? The villain. Who's really the villain in this situation? Finding the right villain is very important. Open energy. And explore adventures. So some of you, yeah, it's definitely, we have new down here. So some of you, it's definitely about coming to a new country. Some kind of, could have been some colonization, could have been some war, could have been going across different borders, themes like that was in your family, that was felt. Yeah, literally, it's like border crossings, things of that nature. Environmental factors also could have been pollution and things. Maybe you're from the neighborhood that was polluted, it was trashy or whatever, and so you experienced that. Some of you might be like, well, I don't know if I experienced this stuff. So you could also have the damage if you received the good benefits from others around you being treated this way. That can also cause a wound in you, right? Because when people, scales of justice and balance, if we receive a lot of good from others getting a lot of harm, that can still affect us. It can also be like, let's say if you were the favorite sibling, so you never got in trouble and it wasn't your fault. However, there was always the energy of you getting blessed while your sibling got cursed. That could have wounded you. You know, maybe you have certain guilt about being in relationships, or maybe you see negative patterns kind of coming about. Maybe as you get older, you realize that you have to disentangle from certain grooming or behavior that wasn't okay, that you were trained to have. You guys could really be breaking out and having a lot of wake-up calls. Like, for example, maybe you grew up in like an anti-LGBT family, so then you're like having to break out of that. So for you guys, finding where the real villain is, the ideal, the attacker, the person, thing, system that was wrong, that is going to help your journey a lot. If not, you could misplace where the real villains are, and you could continue trying to seek relationships and connections and opportunities with those who are actually the villains in disguise, and push away those who are actually like the victims, or the ones that are trying to, that are getting stolen from kind of vibe. All right. So if you're like, why am I not moving? Like, why do I have a fear of making decisions for investing for my career? Right. Maybe that's your question, but it comes down to maybe low key, you have that programming that's knowing how the world is and knowing how the system is, and not wanting to take advantage and not wanting to be like an evil corporation. And you know what I mean? So you can see how even if it seems like an unrelated question, these themes can breathe out into other fears and phobias. Okay. So let's get some insight here, some information. Oh. Rome. Wow. Path to love is lit. Spectacular resolution, whatnot. Talking spicy. So they said, start talking ish to the right villain. Okay? And let them know they got the wrong one today. Start calling out the real villain. It might even be ourselves sometimes, right? We gotta say, what? I just sounded like, the person who bullied me. Let me get myself in check. We don't want to be afraid of ourselves. So we want to have, the ability to distinguish what is ourselves and what is not, which means we have to be able to talk a little smack to our internal programming and say, why am I so fearful? Why am I afraid of my own mind? Why am I afraid of this? Right? This is something else. This is toxic energy exchange. I'm holding energy vibrations. Others, injected into me while they try to suck the energy off my spirit. Want not. I'm getting rid of this pollution, right? So this is my earth oracle, and the villain, we have pollution there. But then it's like, is it the pollution itself, or is it the person who put it there, right? What's the story? You gotta work through it. So this is saying, open your energy back up to love. Open your energy up to getting rid of borders that should not be there, toxicities because of bigotries and limitations of false constructs, and turn your frustration and your anger to where it really should be turned to. And that's going to help you get rid of a lot of your fears and phobias. For example, this card, right? Oh my gosh, like the world's so scary. I can't trust my neighbors. Oh my gosh, right? Kind of vibe. But it's like, if you actually focus on who is causing the problems, who is causing the war, who is causing the propaganda, Now all of a sudden you're not so afraid of all your neighbors and all the, people crossing the borders and this kind of thing, right? You're not so afraid to go out and try to be an entrepreneur, live an alternative lifestyle, because it changes the power game, right? So if you're like, well, why am I afraid to launch my own business? And you're like, this is a lot. He's talking about all this systemic stuff, whatever. Well, it's saying you could be afraid in your love life, afraid to travel, afraid to do your business, afraid to connect to the earth, or to have a family, or to do spiritual work, because of fears that have to do with control and the things that we've discussed here. Okay, so I'm just trying to help, saying bridge it a little bit. People are like, I'm trying to connect the dots, I might not be seeing them. Okay, so your advice is to fill yourself up with love. Your advice is to literally explore and travel more. Open up your mind, broaden your mind for this group. You're not even close to being done to broadening your mind, deprogramming negative kind of propaganda and ideals, reprogramming what real love is, what true harmony and diversity and community is. You're not even close to getting, and it's a beautiful thing as far as there's so much more in the spectrum of love for you to experience. It's a spectacular resolution. You're going to see yourself getting feistier and feistier as you get rid of fears, bolder and bolder in your decisions, right, that you can make for your own life. Not feeling so limited and, oh, I have to go to this bank, and I have to have this type of job, and I have to do my hair this way, and I have to go to bed by this time in this neighborhood in this small town USA or whatever. Like, all of that stuff is really, I got to take my trash out, right? Or neighbor Fred is going to report me if I don't have it out by 7 p.m. All these kind of fears. I feel like some people in this group have been so controlled, or you're just so aware of these control games, right? And it's anxiety inducing. So now we have a whole bridge to open doors, a whole new lifestyle, freedom and travel and love, and realizing that we don't have to be the villain. We don't have to co-sign that. Even if we love people who are suffering through those limitations, we don't have to internalize that pattern and continue it out of a so-called kind of corrupted loyalty to them. All right? We can move on from that. So I think there's a lot of good still waiting on your path. Continue, I would say, down your doors and your pathways here. I feel like you working on yourself in this way just even makes the world a better and better and better place, right? New world, new this. We have that over here. And continue, I would say, continue to stay respectful. With this group, we never want to use fear or love to gaslight not growing. Like the whole, love and light, as we maybe take advantage of things from other borders, or as we're polluting the planet, right? But saying we're being good people, that kind of thing. I feel like as you shake out of those kind of dynamics and co-signing it or accepting it from others, right? You talk spicy to it, you back away from that. You step more into actual love with action. It frees you up. It's almost like you might think it limits you. For example, a lot of witches that hold bigotries are like, well, religion told us we couldn't do anything, so we're going to do whatever we want. We don't care if it's racially insensitive, or we don't care, right? We're going to be free. We're going to do what we want because we're not in religion anymore. But they end up creating the same fears, having the same limitations, doing the same toxicities as the religious patriarchy they allegedly just left, right? So this is saying, in order to free yourself of those fears and phobias, you're going to fully take yourself away from them. You're not going to see it you're not going to identify it as like this comfortable car seat that's keeping you safe, right? You're going to realize, I don't need any of this. I don't need it at all, because I'm free to run across the bridge and truly open up and truly learn what harmony and togetherness is, to have a phenomenal experience of love in my life. And that's going to help me make great business decisions, have amazing travel opportunities, flourish in my spiritual path, have vast love. It's just going to change the entire way I feel about myself and the decisions that I make. So that's what I'm seeing. I would also watch where you guys do energy exchange, and definitely watch your news sources for this group too. Okay? And realize, even if you love someone, doesn't mean they know all the end all and be all of everything for you, okay? So that's what I'm seeing. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again on another one. Bye.